"What the hell am I supposed to do with you?" the human yelled at the defiant alien fugitive. William McCartney never expected his night shift at Outpost 7 to be anything but routine. The small trading outpost on Proxima 3 was just another dot on the vast map of human expansion into alien territories. As a hired gun for the Centauri Trading Corporation, his job was simple. Guard the entrance, check the cargo, and don't ask questions. The warehouse's dim lighting cast long shadows across stacks of metal containers, their surfaces gleaming dully under the pale blue emergency lights. William adjusted his dark gray armored vest, his fingers brushing against the holstered plasma pistol at his hip. The weight of the weapon was reassuring in this alien environment. "Another thrilling night in paradise," he muttered, running a hand through his light brown hair. His thick beard itched in the humid air, a constant reminder that he was far from Earth's comfortable climate. The cargo manifest showed 3 new containers had arrived during the previous shift. Standard procedure required inspection before they could be moved to secure storage. William approached the first container, his boots echoing on the metal floor. As he reached for the control panel, a faint sound from inside made him freeze. Years of mercenary work had honed his instincts, and right now they were screaming that something was very wrong. "Computer, scan container A137 for life signs," he commanded quietly. Scanning. 1 life form detected. Humanoid. Female. "Well, shit." William drew his weapon. "Open container A137. Authorization McCartney Alpha 9. The container's seal broke with a soft hiss. As the door swung open, William found himself staring at the most striking alien female he'd ever encountered. Her green skin seemed to glow in the dim light, and her light red hair, tied in a ponytail, framed a face that was both exotic and beautiful. She wore what appeared to be some kind of metallic undergarment that left little to the imagination. Their eyes met, and William felt his professional demeanor slip slightly. "What the hell am I supposed to do with you?" he yelled, more out of frustration than anger. The alien woman's response was unexpected. She smiled. "Help me?" Her voice carried a musical quality, despite the universal translator's mechanical undertone. William lowered his weapon slightly but maintained his guard. "You do realize that if they find you here, we're both dead. Smuggling sentience is a capital offense in this sector." "I had no choice," she replied, gracefully stepping out of the container. "My name is Kara. I'm seeking asylum." William glanced at the security cameras, knowing he had minutes at most before someone noticed the unauthorized container opening. His mind raced through options, none of them particularly appealing. "Fuck it," he muttered. "Follow me. There's a maintenance level below us. I can hide you there temporarily, but we need to move fast." As they hurried through the shadowy warehouse, William couldn't shake the feeling that his life had just become significantly more complicated. What he didn't know was just how right he was. The maintenance level was a maze of dimly lit corridors and humming machinery. William led Kara through the labyrinth of pipes and conduits to a small room he'd discovered during his first week at the outpost. It was originally meant for storing spare parts, but he'd since converted it into a private sanctuary for those rare moments when he needed to escape the chaos above. "It's not exactly luxury accommodations," William said, activating the light panel. The room was sparse but clean, with a cot, a small table, and basic amenities. "But it's secure. The metal walls block most scanning frequencies." Kara moved past him, her graceful movements making even the simple act of exploring the room seem like a dance. "It's perfect," she said, turning to face him with those mesmerizing eyes. "Thank you, William." The way she said his name sent an unexpected shiver down his spine. He cleared his throat, trying to maintain his professional demeanor. "I need to get back upstairs before someone notices I'm gone. I'll bring you food and supplies when my shift ends." "Wait," Kara called as he turned to leave. Will you stay, just for a moment?" There was something vulnerable in her voice that made him pause. William checked his chronometer. He had about 15 minutes before the next scheduled security sweep. "All right, but make it quick." She sat on the cot, patting the space beside her. Against his better judgment, he joined her, maintaining a respectful distance that she immediately closed by sliding closer. "Your species is fascinating," she said, studying his face with undisguised curiosity. "I've heard stories about humans, but I never thought I'd meet one up close." "What kind of story?" William asked, acutely aware of her proximity. That you're warriors, survivors, that your species achieved in centuries what took others millennia." Her fingers traced the edge of his armored vest, sending another shiver through him. That you're capable of great passion. William caught her hand, his larger fingers engulfing her delicate green ones. Kara, this is complicated. I'm risking everything just by helping you. She leaned closer, her scent reminding him of exotic flowers. Is that not what humans do? Take risks? Break rules when they know they're wrong? Before he could respond, his communicator chirped. McCarney, we've got an unauthorized container access alert in Sector 7. Report status. William jumped up, his heart racing. Damn it, that's from earlier. Stay here, keep quiet. I'll handle this. He rushed to the door, but Kara's voice stopped him again. Be careful, William. And thank you for being exactly what the story said humans would be. Upstairs, William found Security Chief Thax waiting by the open container. The Drachnid's scaled face was twisted in suspicion, his four eyes scanning the area methodically. McCarney, Thax growled. Explain this. William kept his voice steady. False reading on the manifest scanner. I was doing a routine check when the system glitched. Already filed the maintenance report. A glitch? Thax's secondary eyes narrowed. Show me. William led him to the nearest terminal, thanking whatever gods might be listening that he'd actually learned to hack the system during his downtime. A few quick keystrokes brought up a fabricated maintenance log. See? Tagged it as a priority fix. He gestured at the screen. Unless you want to explain to corporate why we're refusing legitimate shipments because of faulty equipment? Thax studied the log, his throat sacs pulsing with irritation. Fine, but I want that scanner replaced by next shift. And McCarney... He leaned closer, his breath hot and acrid. If I find out you're lying to me, they'll never find all the pieces. Understood, Chief. William maintained eye contact until Thax turned away, then released a breath he hadn't realized he was holding. The rest of his shift was a blur of anxiety and hypervigilance. Every footstep, every shadow made him tense. By the time his replacement arrived, he was exhausted but couldn't afford to rest. He gathered supplies from his quarters, food, water, basic medical supplies, and a spare blanket, before heading back to the maintenance level. The sight that greeted him when he opened the door made him freeze. Kara had found his spare shirt and was wearing it like a dress, the material barely reaching mid-thigh. She'd let her hair down, the light red strands cascading over her shoulders. The sight of her in his clothing stirred something primal in him. I hope you don't mind, she said, a mischievous smile playing on her lips. My attire wasn't exactly designed for comfort. William set down the supplies, trying to keep his voice steady. It's fine, I brought you some things. She approached him slowly, deliberately. You're tired, stressed, because of me. It's not your fault. I chose to help you. Let me help you relax, she suggested, reaching for his shoulders. My people have techniques for easing tension. William caught her hands again, but didn't push her away. Kara, we barely know each other. Then let's fix that. She pressed closer, her body radiating warmth. Ask me anything. He should have stepped back, should have maintained professional distance. Instead, he found himself asking, why were you really in that container? Her expression grew serious. Because I refused to be sold. I was merchandise until I escaped. The admission hit him like a physical blow. Slave traders? She nodded. Now you understand why I can't be found, why I had to trust a stranger, why I had to trust you. William felt his protective instincts surge. You're safe here. I promise. I know, she whispered, and then she was kissing him, her lips soft and sweet against his. The warning came 3 days after William found Kara. He was monitoring the security feeds when an unmarked vessel requested emergency docking clearance. Something about its configuration set off alarm bells in his mind. It was too sleek, too well-armed for a simple trading vessel. Incoming transmission, the computer announced. The holographic display flickered to life, revealing a face that made William's blood run cold. The alien's features were sharp, predatory, with cybernetic implants crawling across its gray skin like metallic veins. This is Commander Krell of the Syndicate Reclamation Force, the figure announced. We're tracking stolen property. Your cooperation is mandatory. William maintained his professional facade. Understood, Commander. Standard docking procedures apply. Bay 4 is available. The moment the transmission ended, he activated his secure comm link. Kara, we've got trouble. Slave hunters. They're here. Her response was immediate, voice tight with fear. How many? Unknown. Stay put. I'm coming to you. William quickly accessed the station's security protocols, initiating a series of subtle system malfunctions that would slow down any internal scans. As he hurried through the corridors, his mind raced through options. The maintenance level wouldn't stay secure for long against professional hunters. He found Kara pacing their hidden sanctuary, her natural grace now charged with nervous energy. She'd adapted his spare clothing into something both practical and flattering, though the sight of her in his modified gear still made his heart skip. "We need to move," he said, already gathering essential supplies. "They'll have scanning tech that can pierce these walls given enough time." "Where can we go?" Kara asked, helping him pack. "The whole station's a trap now." William grinned, a plan forming. "Who said we're staying on the station?" Before he could elaborate, his comm crackled. "McCarney," Thax's voice growled. "Report to Docking Bay 4. Now." "Acknowledged," William replied, and then turned to Kara. "Change of plans. I need to maintain cover. Stay here, but be ready to move fast." She caught his arm as he turned to leave, pulling him into a fierce kiss that left him breathless. "Be careful, my brave human." "Always am, beautiful," he winked, trying to project more confidence than he felt. In Docking Bay 4, Commander Krell had already assembled his hunting party. 6 heavily armed operatives with the latest in tracking technology. Their armor bore the distinctive red stripe of the Syndicate's elite recovery teams. "Mr. McCarney," Krell's cybernetic eye whirred as it focused on him. "Your security chief speaks highly of your efficiency." William nodded respectfully, noting Thax's smug expression. The Drachnid clearly enjoyed putting him in an uncomfortable position. "Happy to assist," William replied. "What exactly are we looking for?" "A female Verdanti." Krell activated a holographic display showing Kara's image. "Extremely valuable property. She possesses certain genetic markers of interest to our clients." William studied the image with practiced indifference. "Haven't seen her, but I'll keep my eyes open." "Oh, we'll find her." Krell's smile was all teeth and malice. "Our scanners detected trace DNA matching her profile in one of your cargo containers. She was here." "The entire station will be locked down," Thax announced. "All personnel will submit to genetic scanning." William's mind raced. They'd need at least an hour to set up a station-wide scan. That gave him some time, but not much. "Sir," one of Krell's operatives interrupted, "we're detecting interference with the internal sensors." "Technical issues," William offered smoothly. "We've had system glitches all week. Maintenance is working on it." Krell's cybernetic eye fixed on him again, its red glow intensifying. "Fix it. Now." "Of course, I'll head to the control room personally." Instead, William took a circuitous route through the station's service corridors, accessing emergency protocols through his security clearance. As he worked, he contacted Kara through their secure channel. "Change of plans, beautiful. How do you feel about a little chaos?" "What did you have in mind?" Her voice held a hint of excitement beneath the tension. "Ever heard of a Trojan horse? We're going to walk you right out their front door." He paused, fingers flying over the control panel. "But first, we need to give them something else to worry about." William activated the station's emergency protocols, but with a twist. Instead of a standard evacuation, he triggered a cascading series of systems failures. Life support hiccuped in non-essential areas. Gravity plating fluctuated randomly, and most importantly, the station's automated defense systems began targeting any ship without proper clearance codes, including Krell's vessel. The response was immediate. Alarms blared as the station's systems appeared to go haywire. Through the security feeds, William watched Krell's team scramble to respond to multiple crises. "Meet me at Access Junction 7, he instructed Kara. "Bring the emergency pack. And Kara, trust me." "Always," she replied without hesitation. Access Junction 7 connected to the station's waste disposal system, and more importantly, to the maintenance airlocks used for external repairs. When Kara arrived, William was already suited up in an EVA suit. "Here's the plan," he said, helping her into another suit. "They're looking for a fugitive trying to hide. So instead, we're going to be repair technicians responding to an emergency." "Won't they scan the suits?" "They would, except their scanners are currently being overwhelmed by radiation leaks that don't actually exist." He grinned. "Amazing how delicate scanning equipment can be." As if on cue, another alarm blared through the station. William's comm crackled with Thax's angry voice. "McCarney, Where the hell are you? The defense systems are targeting everything. Working on it, Chief, William replied calmly. Looks like a cascade failure, attempting to stabilize from Junction 7. Fix it or I'll have your hide. William turned to Kara, his expression serious despite his confident tone. Ready for a spacewalk, beautiful? Her answering smile was visible, even through the helmet visor. Lead the way, my clever human. The vacuum of space stretched before them as William and Kara emerged from the maintenance airlock. The station's exterior was a maze of conduits, antennae, and maintenance rails. Perfect cover for their escape attempt. William activated their suit's magnetic boots, keeping them anchored to the hull. Stay close, he instructed through their private comm channel. We need to reach the auxiliary control panel on the far side. From there, I can access the station's defense grid directly. And Krell's ship, Kara asked, matching his careful movements across the hull. Let's just say it's about to have a very bad day. They'd barely covered half the distance when William's helmet display lit up with warnings. Shit! Multiple EVA signatures launching from Bay 4. They're on to us. Through the darkness of space, he could see the hunters emerging, their suits more combat-oriented than the maintenance gear he and Kara wore. Their thrusters were military-grade, allowing for faster maneuvering. Run! William commanded, deactivating their magnetic boots. He grabbed Kara's hand and activated his suit's emergency thrusters, propelling them forward just as energy bolts began streaking past. They're using pulse weapons in vacuum? Kara gasped. Are they insane? Probably, William grunted, yanking them behind a communications array. Hold on tight. He pulled a small device from his utility belt, a maintenance drone reprogrammed for less peaceful purposes. With a quick command, he launched it toward their pursuers. The drone's lights blinked innocently as it approached the hunters. What are you? Kara began. The explosion cut off her question, sending two of their pursuers tumbling into space. The others scattered, seeking cover among the station's external structures. Maintenance drone packed with compressed plasma, William explained, already moving them toward their objective. Amazing what you can build with spare parts and too much free time. You continue to surprise me. Kara's voice held admiration and something warmer. Save the sweet talk for when we're not being shot at, beautiful. They reached the auxiliary control panel, but Krell's remaining hunters were closing in from multiple directions. William worked quickly, his fingers dancing across the interface, while Kara watched their backs with a salvaged pulse rifle from his emergency pack. Whatever you're planning, hurry! She called out, returning fire as energy bolts peppered their position. Almost there, William muttered. Just need to... Got it. The station's defense turrets whirred to life, but instead of targeting the hunter's ship as planned, they began firing randomly into space. At the same time, the external lighting systems went into strobing emergency mode, creating a disorienting battlefield of shadows and harsh light. That's not what was supposed to happen, William growled, trying to regain control. No, but I appreciate the effort. Krell's voice cut through their comm channel. The hunter commander had somehow patched into their frequency. Impressive work, McCartney. You almost had us. But now it's time to end this game. William looked up to see Krell himself approaching, using some sort of advanced propulsion system that let him practically walk through space. His cybernetic enhancements gleamed in the strobing light. Kara, my dear, Krell continued, you've led us on quite a chase. Your genetic profile will fetch an excellent price, especially now that we know it's compatible with human DNA. William felt Kara stiffen beside him. How did you... Scans don't lie, my dear. Your little romance with this human has made you even more valuable. 2 unique genetic profiles for the price of 1. Like hell, William snarled, pulling another surprise from his utility belt. A small quantum detonator, its activation light pulsing steadily. Back off or I'll blow your ship's power core. The authorization codes are already entered, Krell laughed. You're bluffing. You'll kill everyone on the station. Try me. William's voice was steel. I've got nothing left to lose. You've made sure of that. Such passion. Krell's cybernetic eye whirred as it analyzed them. Humans truly are fascinating creatures. So willing to sacrifice everything for... what? Love. You wouldn't understand, Kara spoke up, her hand finding William's in their bulky suits. It's not about sacrifice, it's about choice. My choice? And what choice is that? This one, she said, then fired her pulse rifle directly at the hunter's ship's exposed docking clamp. The shot connected, and the ship's emergency protocols engaged immediately, beginning an emergency undocking sequence. The sudden movement caught Krell's team off guard, sending several of them tumbling as their tether points ripped free. William didn't waste the opportunity. He slammed his palm down on the auxiliary panel, overriding the safety protocols he'd secretly disabled earlier. The station's defense turrets locked onto Krell's ship, no longer firing randomly, but with deadly precision. "You fool!" Krell raged, activating his suit's weapons. "You'll doom us all!" "No," William replied calmly. "Just you." He threw the quantum detonator, not at the ship, but at the space between them. Its explosion wasn't large, but in the vacuum of space, it didn't need to be. The shockwave sent Krell and his remaining hunters spinning away from the station, just as his ship's engines engaged. "Hold on!" William pulled Kara close as the chain reaction began. The hunter's ship, its docking clamp damaged and under fire from the defense turrets, attempted an emergency jump. The spatial distortion caught its own crew in the wake, pulling them into the jump field. Their screams cut off as the ship vanished into hyperspace, and taking its crew with it. The sudden silence was broken only by their heavy breathing over the comm channel. "That was your plan?" Kara asked incredulously. "Force them into a blind jump?" "More or less," William admitted, "though I didn't expect them to take their own crew with them. That was a bonus." "You impossible, brilliant human," she laughed, the sound slightly hysterical with relief. "What the hell am I supposed to do with you?" "Well," he grinned inside his helmet, "I've got some ideas about that. But first, we should probably get inside. And then, we need to run, far and fast." Together? Together. The cargo ship they'd borrowed from the station wasn't much, an older Regellian freighter with questionable maintenance history, but it was fast and, more importantly, untraceable. William had disabled its tracking systems before they'd even left the dock, using the chaos of their escape as cover. Now, safely in hyperspace, he finally allowed himself to relax in the pilot's chair. The ship's autopilot could handle the basic navigation while they figured out their next move. Beside him, Kara was studying the star charts, her green skin glowing softly in the blue light of the holographic display. "The outer rim might be our best bet," she suggested, tracing a route through less traveled sectors. "Less Imperial presence, more places to disappear." William watched her, still amazed by how their lives had changed so dramatically in just a few days. "We'll need supplies first, and probably a better ship if we're planning to go that far out." "Always thinking ahead," Kara smiled, abandoning the star charts to perch on the arm of his chair. "That's one of the things I love about humans. You're always so prepared." Her proximity sent a familiar warmth through him. After the adrenaline and chaos of their escape, the quiet moment felt almost surreal. "Someone has to be," he managed, trying to maintain his focus on their situation. "We're not exactly equipped for a long-term space journey." "No," she agreed, her fingers trailing along his shoulder. "But we have something better. We have each other." William caught her hand, bringing it to his lips. "You're impossible, you know that. Here we are, fugitives and stolen ship, probably with bounties on our heads, and you're—" "I'm what?" she challenged, sliding into his lap with fluid grace. "Appreciating the incredible human who risked everything to save me, who outsmarted some of the most dangerous hunters in the galaxy." "Kara," he warned, but his hands were already settling on her hips. "The same human who makes my heart race every time he looks at me," she continued, leaning closer, "who showed me what true passion feels like." Their lips met in a kiss that held all the intensity of their shared adventures, all the fear and relief and joy of survival. When they finally parted, both were breathing heavily. "We should check the ship's systems," William said weakly, even as his fingers tangled in her hair. "They can wait," Kara whispered, her eyes dark with desire. "Right now, I need to show you exactly how grateful I am." What followed was a celebration of life and passion, their bodies coming together in perfect harmony despite their different species. Every touch, every kiss was a reminder of what they'd fought for, what they'd risked everything to protect. Later, wrapped in each other's arms in the ship's small cabin, Kara traced patterns on William's chest. "I never expected this when I stowed away in that cargo container." "What? Falling for a devilishly handsome human?" She laughed softly. Finding someone who would see me as more than property, who would risk everything just to give me a choice. William pulled her closer, pressing a kiss to her forehead. You're not property. You never were. And anyone who tries to claim otherwise will have to deal with me. My fierce protector, she murmured, snuggling against him. Though I think I proved I can handle myself in a fight too. That you did. That shot at the docking clamp was brilliant. I learned from the best. You humans have such creative ways of solving problems. Their peaceful moment was interrupted by the ship's proximity alarm. William was on his feet instantly, checking the sensors while Kara quickly dressed. Multiple ships dropping out of hyperspace, he reported, his expression grim. Military configuration. Looks like the station reported us, after all. What are our options? William studied the tactical display, his mind racing through scenarios. We're faster than they are, but low on fuel. We could try to outrun them, but I have a better idea. His eyes gleamed with that dangerous intelligence that had first attracted her to him. How do you feel about a little more chaos? With you. Always. They worked quickly, preparing the ship for what would either be their salvation or their doom. As they strapped into their seats, Kara reached over and squeezed his hand. Whatever happens, she said softly, I want you to know that these past days have been worth everything. William brought their joined hands to his lips. We're not done yet, beautiful. Not by a long shot. The military vessels loomed in their view screen, sleek predators against the star-filled void. William's fingers danced across the control panel, implementing his plan with practiced precision. Remember when I said this ship had questionable maintenance? He asked, a roguish grin playing across his features. Well, that's because I chose it specifically. It's an older model Rigelian freighter, one notorious for its unstable power core. Kara's eyes widened with understanding. They'll be expecting us to run, but instead, we're going to give them exactly what they're afraid of. William activated the ship's emergency broadcast channel. This is cargo vessel Stellar Wind. Our power core is experiencing critical fluctuations. Request immediate assistance. The response was immediate. A Stellar Wind, this is Imperial Cruiser Relentless. Power down your engines and prepare for boarding. Negative, Relentless. Core containment is failing. We can't shut down without risking a cascade failure. William's voice carried just the right amount of panic. We need to make an emergency jump to dump the excess energy. Stellar Wind, do not attempt hyperspace jump. Repeat, do not. William cut the transmission, winking at Kara. Now for the fun part. He directed their ship toward a nearby anomaly, a region of space where gravitational forces created natural distortions in the fabric of reality. It was the kind of area most pilots avoided like the plague. They'll think we're desperate enough to try a blind jump, he explained, programming a complex series of commands. But what we're actually going to do is much more interesting. Kara watched in fascination as he worked. The power core readings, they're real. Sort of. I modified the core to look unstable without actually being dangerous, but the energy signature is genuine enough to fool their sensors. He paused, glancing at her with concern. This next part is going to be rough. You okay? She nodded, though she'd been feeling increasingly strange since their intimate encounter earlier. Her skin felt unusually warm, and there was an odd fluttering sensation in her abdomen. But now wasn't the time to worry about that. Ready for anything, she assured him. And William initiated their desperate gambit. The ship lurched forward, its engines screaming as they pushed toward the anomaly. Behind them, the military vessels held position, unwilling to risk following a potentially explosive ship into dangerous space. Stellar Wind, this is your final warning. The Imperial commander's voice crackled through their comm. Stand down or we will open fire. Can't control. Breaking up, William responded, adding static to their transmission before cutting it completely. Just as they reached the edge of the anomaly, he executed a series of precise maneuvers. The ship's power signature flared brilliantly on sensors, making it appear as if they were attempting a desperate hyperspace jump. Instead, William killed all power except life support, using the anomaly's gravitational forces to sling them around in a slingshot maneuver. The military vessels, seeing what appeared to be a catastrophic power core failure, maintained their safe distance. The next few minutes were hell. The ship tumbled through space, buffeted by gravitational forces that threatened to tear them apart. Kara gripped her seat, fighting waves of nausea that she wasn't entirely sure were just from the violent motion. Finally, they emerged on the other side of the anomaly, completely dark to sensors and drifting on a trajectory that would take them far from their pursuers. They'll think we either blew up in a failed jump attempt or got torn apart by the anomaly, William explained, keeping their power minimal. We just have to drift for a few hours until they give up searching for debris. Kara managed a weak smile, trying to ignore the increasing discomfort in her body. Brilliant plan, though next time, maybe something with less spinning? William laughed softly, reaching over to squeeze her hand. Sorry about that. But hey, it worked. Once they're gone, we can power up and make a proper jump to the outer rim. And then we find somewhere quiet, somewhere safe, and figure out our next move. His expression softened as he looked at her. Together. Kara wanted to respond, but another wave of strange sensations washed over her. Her skin felt like it was humming, and the fluttering in her abdomen had intensified. She recognized the symptoms from ancient tales of her people, but it seemed impossible. You sure you're okay? William asked, noticing her discomfort. Just tired, she lied, not wanting to worry him until she was certain. It's been a long day. As they drifted through the darkness of space, waiting for their pursuers to give up the search, Kara silently cataloged the changes happening within her body. If she was right, if the impossible had happened, their lives were about to become even more complicated. But looking at William, his handsome features illuminated by the soft emergency lighting, she couldn't bring herself to regret anything that had led to this moment. The frontier colony of New Haven lived up to its name, at least on the surface. Nestled in an asteroid belt at the edge of known space, it was a sprawling collection of interconnected habitats and mining facilities, where questions weren't asked as long as you had credits to spend. 2 weeks after their daring escape, William and Kara had managed to secure modest quarters in one of their residential domes. The room wasn't much, but it offered privacy and, more importantly, a medical scanner that confirmed what Kara had suspected. Pregnant, she said softly, showing William the results. Our genetic codes merge perfectly. It's unprecedented. William stared at the holographic display, his expression cycling through shock, wonder, and finally settling on a mix of joy and concern. How is this even possible? My people have legends of being compatible with other species, but they were just that, legends. Kara placed a hand on her still flat abdomen. Until now. William pulled her close, pressing his forehead to hers. Oh, whatever happens, we'll figure it out together. Though I have to ask, what the hell am I supposed to do with you now? She laughed, the sound full of both happiness and nervous energy. Love Ma, protect our child. Keep being the amazing human who turned my world upside down. Their moment of joy was interrupted by a priority alert from the colony's defense network. William checked the notification, his face darkening. Multiple ships dropping out of hyperspace at the belt's edge. Unknown configuration, but he paused, studying the data. The energy signatures matched syndicate tech. Krell, Kara whispered, her hand protectively covering her abdomen. How did he find us? Doesn't matter. We need to move. William was already gathering their essential supplies. There's a mining shuttle leaving for the outer asteroids in 20 minutes. If we can. The room's lighting suddenly shifted to emergency red. Attention all residents, a computerized voice announced. Unknown vessels have breached colony defense perimeter. Security protocols engaged. Please remain in your designated areas. So much for the shuttle, William muttered. New plan. The maintenance tunnels connect all the major domes. We can use them to reach the commercial sector, lose ourselves in the crowd. They moved quickly, William leading the way through service corridors he'd memorized during their first days in the colony. Kara followed close behind, fighting waves of nausea that had nothing to do with their situation. The pregnancy is accelerated, she explained as they paused at an intersection. My people gestate quickly once conception occurs. It's a survival trait from our evolutionary past. William processed this new information while checking their route. How quickly are we talking? A few weeks? Maybe less? She managed a weak smile. Surprise. You're just full of those lately, he replied, but his tone was affectionate. All the more reason to get you somewhere safe. They had just reached the commercial dome when the first explosion rocked the colony. Emergency barriers slammed down, separating sections of the habitat as atmosphere retention protocols activated. "Attention," the colony AI announced. "Hull breach detected in Residential Dome 3. Emergency containment in effect." "That's where we just were," Kara realized. "They're hunting us section by section." William pulled her into an alcove as a security team rushed past. "They're trying to flush us out, but they don't know these habitats like I do." He accessed a maintenance panel, bringing up the colony's internal schematics. "There's an old emergency shuttle bay in the industrial sector. It was abandoned when they upgraded the main docking facilities, but the equipment should still work." "And you know this how?" "Let's just say I did my homework before we settled here." He gave her a roguish wink. "Always have an escape plan, beautiful!" They were halfway to their destination when Kara stumbled, one hand pressed to her abdomen. "William, the baby, something's happening." He caught her before she could fall, noting how her skin seemed to pulse with an inner light. "What do you need?" "Just give me a moment. The changes are accelerating." She took several deep breaths, then straightened. "We need to hurry. The genetic merging is progressing faster than I expected." Before William could respond, a familiar voice echoed through the corridor. "How touching." They spun to find Krell standing at the intersection, his cybernetic enhancements even more extensive than before. The failed hyperspace jump had clearly taken its toll. "The miracle of life," the hunter continued, his artificial eye scanning Kara's form. "A unique hybrid of human and Verdanti DNA. Do you have any idea what the genetic research alone is worth?" "She's not your property," William snarled, positioning himself between Krell and Kara. "No, she's so much more now. She's the key to a new species. And you, human, are an unexpected bonus. The virility of your kind never ceases to amaze." "I'm not letting you anywhere near them," William declared, drawing his weapon. Krell laughed, the sound harsh and mechanical. "You don't have a choice. This time I came prepared." The wall behind them exploded inward as more hunters breached the corridor. William reacted instantly, pushing Kara toward a side passage. "Run!" he shouted, laying down covering fire. "Get to the shuttle bay. I'll hold them off." "I won't leave you." "Trust me," he met her eyes briefly. "I'll be right behind you." The colony's security forces arrived just as William was running out of ammunition. Their timing couldn't have been better. Krell's hunters had him pinned down in a maintenance junction, with their energy weapons scorching the walls around him. "This is Colonial Defense Force," a voice boomed through the corridor. "All unauthorized combatants, stand down immediately." "About damn time," William muttered, using the distraction to slip through a service hatch. He needed to reach Kara before the baby came, and based on her last condition, that wouldn't be long. Meanwhile, in the abandoned shuttle bow, Kara was experiencing the final stages of her accelerated pregnancy. Her body glowed with an ethereal light, a natural process of her species that helped ease the birthing process. She'd managed to barricade the main entrance, but she could hear fighting in the corridors beyond. "Hold on, little one," she whispered to her unborn child. "Your father's coming. He always keeps his promises." As if in response, the baby's movement intensified. The genetic merger of human and Verdanti DNA had created something unprecedented. A perfect fusion of both species' strengths. The colony's defense grid suddenly hummed to life, its ancient weapons targeting Krell's ships in orbit. The hunters had underestimated New Haven's independence and military capabilities. The frontier colony had survived countless raids and attacks over the years, and its defenders weren't about to let their home fall to slavers. William fought his way through the industrial sector, aided by colonial security forces who'd recognized the greater threat to their independence. The hunters' invasion had united the usually fractious colony factions against a common enemy. "The shuttle bay's just ahead," a colonial officer informed him. "We'll hold them here. Go to your family." Family. The word hit William like a physical force. In just a few weeks, his life had transformed from lonely mercenary work to something profound and precious. He reached the shuttle bay just as Kara cried out in pain. The sound galvanized him, giving him strength to force open the barricaded door. "I'm here, beautiful," he called, rushing to her side. "I'm here." "William," she gasped, her skin pulsing with that otherworldly light. "The baby, he's coming now." Above them, the space battle reached its climax. New Haven's defense platforms had trapped Krell's ships against the asteroid field, methodically destroying their engines and weapons. The hunters' ground forces, cut off from retreat, fought with increasing desperation. But in the shuttle bay, none of that mattered. William held Kara's hand as she brought their son into the universe, a perfect blend of both their species. The boy's skin had a subtle green tint that seemed to shift in the light, while his eyes were unmistakably human. A shock of light brown hair crowned his head. "He's beautiful," William whispered, cradling his son while supporting Kara. "Just like his mother." Their moment of peace was shattered as Criddle burst through a maintenance access, his cybernetic parts sparking and damaged. "If I can't have the child," the hunter snarled, "no one will." But he'd forgotten one crucial detail about New Haven's shuttle bays. They were designed for emergency evacuations. As Krell charged forward, William slammed his hand on the emergency override panel. The bay's atmospheric containment field flickered for just a split second, long enough to create a powerful vacuum effect. Krell, already off balance, was caught in the sudden air rush. His cybernetic enhancements, damaged from the earlier fighting, couldn't compensate fast enough. The hunter's scream cut off as he was pulled into space, disappearing into the debris field of his own destroyed fleet. "Good riddance," William muttered, checking that Kara and the baby were safely secured. "I've wanted to do that since I first saw his smug face." Kara laughed weakly, reaching for their son. "What should we name him?" "How about Alexander?" William suggested. "It means defender of mankind in an old Earth language. Seems fitting given everything that's happened." "Alexander," Kara tested the name, smiling as the baby gurgled in response. "Perfect." The colony's all-clear signal sounded, indicating the last of the hunters had been captured or eliminated. In the aftermath, New Haven's council offered them permanent residence and protection. The colony recognized the potential diplomatic advantages of hosting the first known human Verdanti hybrid family. "So," William said later, watching Kara nurse their son in their new, more spacious quarters, "what the hell am I supposed to do with you now?" Kara's answering smile was radiant. "Love us, protect us, build a life with us. The same things you've been doing since you found me in that cargo container." "I can do that," he agreed, joining his family. "Though next time, maybe try arriving through customs." "Where's the fun in that?" she teased, leaning against him. "Besides, humans seem to thrive on impossible situations. It's what makes you so fascinating." And here I thought it was my devilish charm. That too. As they gazed out at the asteroid field that had become their home, William reflected on how a simple security job had led to the greatest adventure of his life. He had a family now, a purpose beyond mere survival, and a future filled with possibilities. And if anyone else tried to threaten that future, well, they'd learn what happened when you crossed a protective human father and his extraordinary family.